Alright, welcome to my level tutorial or video. Start her up. Okay, so we'll go to level select and then to mine, just so we can quickly show off what mine has to offer. So right off the bat, we've got 4 paths that the player can take, either down the left side, which is the cliff side, it's a lot more open, down the middle, or down to the right side. Either way you go, there's also back up at the top, so if you were to like scale this mountainside here, we could go all the way up and basically take a shortcut, because some players like to turn around and explore behind them, so this is a way of rewarding them for doing so. OBS is making me lag a little bit, so sorry for that. But if the player comes up top, there are both kill and capture objectives up here. So the player will have to capture this objective while killing a few of the enemies. That opens one of the doors, and the second door... I wish it wasn't so laggy. And that would be down to the last area right there. I'm going to go back to the beginning though and show off. You can jump down to the right or down there to the right or left if you want to. But I'm going to go down on the right path now instead and go down to the crystal area. Slide underneath this, come down here, and we've got a capture area and some enemies. And these doors are a little different. As you can see, they're white, not orange, and they don't have a kill counter on them. But that finishes up and opens up 2 pathways here. So we've got some wall running here that the player can go through. And if they get hit by lasers, it simply just puts them back where their last checkpoint was. Or we could go through the middle section here. I'm going to go ahead and do this wall run. Ooh. Alright, and there's a checkpoint right there. Now, this is a kill door, but because we have enough kills already, because we went through a different path and then this path, normally this path wouldn't be open if you came down here first. But we can go up here and to the right, and this leads us to the last path. Oh, whoops. All the paths converge in the last area, the temple, the crystal temple area. Teleport up here. Now for the crystal temple area, we've got a kill door and a regular door. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this fill up first, so you can see that there goes the door back behind it, opened up. Hit one more. There we go. Now it's open. That's the portal to go back to the main hub. The player can come from a different area though. So I'm going to go back and go through that second option the player could have progressed through. There we go. So this is the second option they could have gone through if they went down to the crystal cave area. Another checkpoint here. Slide underneath this. can't go underneath it unless you slide. There we go. And this has a kill door here, and some enemies that you have to fight. This is the cliffside area. If you wanted to come down here from the cliffside area, you would have to jump through these lasers to get down here. So there's lots of options for the player to choose, and different paths that they can take. There are some hidden Joker cards hidden around the map. I'll show off a couple of them. Let's see, I know there's one over here. Yes, so there's one right here. You can pick that up. Alright. And there's a couple along the cliffside as well. I'll just go ahead and restart that level so we can quickly get to the cliffside. The cliffside does not like me for some reason. This has a couple of wall running sections here so that you can get up to the turrets. If you don't have the teleporter. There we go. Need one more kill. Let's see. This one. Door opens. This is one of the drop downs. Remember? That's that laser path you can go through. This is the second cliff area. The enemies do have critical points on them, so like if I were to shoot the top of the turret, it would take less damage than shooting the very middle of it. Same thing with the enemies' bodies and the enemies' heads. Anyways, let's see. Where is that card? It's around here. So there it is. The Joker card right here. Pick that up. And it leads to the Crystal Temple area. Then I finish up this there we go. So even if the player has played this level in particular, there are still other paths that they could have or might not have taken before, so they can replay the level and still have a fresh experience. There we go. And that concludes the level. If I had played this through the start game area and hit that portal, it would have brought me straight back here, actually. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name is Adeline Crawford, and I will be showcasing my steampunk warehouse level. Let's first turn down the sound. And let's go back. So typically when you start the level, you start off here where we randomly generate a level after clicking the button, then you'll enter the portal. But for this video, we're going to go back and go into level select and show you the levels right as you would enter the portal. So once you would enter the portal, you would exit, you would enter into the level. So you start off in a office, so it's like the main office, the man who owns the company, the warehouse, and you would come out, enter here. So currently the ability, I will assign myself with some debug keys or some keys for the level for the time being for the video. So you would enter the workshops here, which then the player would be introduced to a first mechanic, which is the kill door. So pretty much the player has to kill so many enemies to open a door. And then they'll have a showcase here to tell them how many do you need to open. So right at the back, when you enter, the player they have a couple of choices. They could either jump straight across and get in here, and then this is practically a shortcut in the level, so that they could pretty much skip across the whole level if they know about it and if they can make the jump. The main course that they typically is the main course that they could take is typically this one is kind of the main one that I would call the regular character path, but the one on the right over there that brings you to the metal smelters area is also a reasonable one as well. In the assembly line section, the player will have to capture points. This point right here is optional, but for the fun of it, we are going to do it anyway, so we can get some extra cash. So we just gotta fight off enemies, protect, and then go here, fight off enemies, and protect. This door right here opened because this was also a kill ref door. If you killed so many enemies, it would open, so. That's why this opened, which if we go in here, which is in the garage, you just enter the portal and then whoop, you'd be done. And you'd be on to your next random level. If the player does turn around, they actually have the option to go up here. And they can get a collectible, which is a Queen of Hearts, Queen of Spades. And they could also get an Ace of Spades up here. So, that is like the shortcut level. If they wanted to, a shortcut path would be the pipe. If they already been through the level, they found it, and they're like, oh, shortcut, get through. Especially if you are not really trying to make money, you're trying to get through the levels, so you could get so far within, because after so many levels, you are able to enter and go towards some more advanced levels. The lasers are put here so that the player can't just instantly jump when they get in. So if they were to jump, they would get set back to the checkpoint, which is where we last checkpointed. Enter here. More choices. The player could choose instead of just going in, get the amount of kills that you need. The player can actually take a little shortcut again up here into the pipe. And right here they would have collected the Queen of Spades. And if they wanted to, they could jump back and get the Ace of Spades, but most people don't look backwards, so. And then again, you would enter. So majority-wise, the whole theme of the level was steampunk and waiting for art assets to fully put those in. But for the time being, it's kind of a simple level where the player has a lot of choices that they're like, oh, I'm going to choose this way. But it kind of leads on this one path through the assembly line most of the time. Thank you for listening.
Alright, loading up the level. Hold up. Here's the build. And to demonstrate my level, I have created a casino theme level, which currently is still being developed. So as of right now, the player starts out and they're in a room. They get to fight enemies in here, and they have a choice between enemies to open that door, or to then open that door when this eventually comes up. Right now this room is supposed to be pretty open, pretty basic, so that the player can gauge the movement, the objectives. If they choose to go this time, very simple, that doesn't have many enemies, since if they stay here they'll be pushing forward into the... This is where most of the combat's going to take place. This is where I'm going to implement the choice again. Either run up here, jump over here, and start to either open that door or get enough kills so that that door opens. But if they choose to kind of click for extra money and to also go to a different path, like so, they can run forward this way. Here's another kill, where if the player kills the enemies here, they can open this door, and this is the final segment, which I have not entirely filled out yet, but this one is supposed to be a combination of both objectives, where the player must fight the enemies and capture the control point, then press the the two buttons, my mistake, to open the main door. So if the player does that, presses that button, that's one. They run over here, hit that button, they run over here, and here's the end of the level. And then, since I need to reset my level, the player can then take the other path, which I probably should have taken now because now we have to take the capture point. The player can take the other path, which will be pretty simple, like the other room, because these are supposed to be just transitions into the main focus point of my map, which is the main lobby. Here, a little bit of tables, a little bit of obstacles that the player can. There's nothing really preventing them from stopping them, so they can choose to fight those enemies or ignore them. Going this way, they can fight. And to show off a secret on my level, in here the player can run around, and there will be sides of the wall to open this door, which if the player does pay attention to, they'll be able to find the secret in my level, which will contain a collectible that we do not have currently set up yet, but will be implemented in the next sprint in here, so that the player can then get a card for a bonus in our main lobby. Moving in here, one design choice that I also made to get the player to practice and I forgot about that. Get used to the objectives is if they go through the kill door, they will have to use a capture point in order to move on to the next area, to the finale. They do have a choice to run back, and if they choose to go through that door, which is the capture area, then they will have to use a kill door in order to move forward. That way, no matter what, the player will have an understanding of what the capture point does, what the kill door does, and then at the final door in the finale, they'll understand, oh, I have to open that door, and I'll then to show off, not introduce, practice the buttons again to open the final door, and boom, beat the end of the level. And that is my level that I have made. And there's not much else to really say. That a lot of things in there are very much placeholders, and I'm still trying to fix the lighting and the amount of enemies in my level to plan out the economy that my level has, since it is a difficulty level. Other than that, thank you very much, and that's everything.
Yo, 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 it is your boy Lloyd. And I will be I'll be testing out my level. Right? I will be testing out my level. My level is called Interstellar. And it is a spaceship. Not spaceship, but a space shuttle. Not a space shuttle, but a space station. Oh jeez. Right? It's interstellar, and my level is a space station. Now, some the player there's really two paths that the player could take. The player will be able to wall run all the way up to the top, or they'd be able to jump from platform to platform to get to the top, or they could do a combination of both. Jump, run, jump, run. You know, jump, run, jump, run. Now the player will be given $500 to try and finish the level, and there are enemies. There's four main objectives that the player got to complete to reach the end of the level. There's two main objectives on each floor, and there's three side objectives that the player can do throughout the level. And there are collectibles that the player could get, and well, while traversing the level, as you can see right there, there's one of the collectibles floating right there midair. Um, Other than that, when we get started and we run past the checkpoint, the level will start. Well, the cash will start dropping down. Now you could stop and sit here and shoot enemies, try to get more money, which is more time. That's really up to the player. Well, it's not really up to the player because when they actually get here, it will actually they will need to fight some enemy to make it to the end. Because if they don't, they will run out of money. Now, when we get here, now this is actually a rest area for the player where the player could relax for a little bit. Now, once the player hits this button, this door will open and that door will close. And when the player is ready, they could wall run up and they can make it here. And once they make it here, now if the player hits these lasers, they will be sent back to the last checkpoint they came from. But all they have to do is hit this button and the lasers will turn off for 10 seconds. Now this is right now we are in the maintenance bay. The As you can see, so our first objective is this control point. The player must stand in this control point while fending off enemies. Now, like I said earlier, if the player was able to, I mean, if we started in the main hub, we would have more enemies loading in. But because we weren't able to use a slot machine, we don't have that many. Well, we don't have that many enemies to combat right now. Now once the player do the secondary objectives too. One of these doors, this door will open or the other white door will open. Just depends on which objective the player do. Now the player in this area, the player got to kill a certain amount of enemies. So the top door open. Now this is the count. To let the player know, hey, this how many enemies you need to kill to open this door. And here's one of the collectibles is an ace of spades. The player can pick that up. Now out of here, this is the second part of the level. The player now this area is a little bit more difficult to traverse, but it is doable. This is actually one of our harder levels that the player will counter once they make it a certain distance in the game. This is not a early level. This is not an early level. Now we're gonna go ahead and kill some of these. I actually want to jump back down and kill some, but we got one of them, so we will try to keep going. Well, we hit a checkpoint here actually, because I feel like we go ahead and take some of these enemies out if we can. But enemies are just fun to, he's definitely too far for me. All right, but from there, let's hop back up here. That's why, you know, we go to put that platform there. Go to this next point. Now here, once we get to this top, I did now this area, like I said from earlier, this area is the resting area for the player. It's not big, but we don't want the player to sit here for too long while his money is running out. We're trying to force the player out of here and to keep going. But if the player do sit here for a little bit too long, I did place a couple enemies up top so the player can recoup some cash. But at the same time, if you don't know how to dodge these, you'll lose some money. But here, the player gotta wait for the lasers to go up, and that he'll be able to go under. Now, these are the same objectives. The player just gotta stand in the control zone. This the first objective the player gotta do, and on the second floor. Now with the leading lines, so there there's supposed to be vents going around all the way through the level to guide the player. There's supposed to be vents and wires guiding the player on where to go, and also the wall runs. Once we actually get our assets, they will actually be satellite panels with lights on them to guide the player on which way he's supposed to be, on which way the player should run and jump off from. Now in this second area, it's the same thing. The player just gotta kill enemies. And like I said, once well, on that note, we talk about this real quick. So this room is actually the command deck, the command room where, as it looks just like it with the TVs and the screens and the command station. But yeah, in this area, the player gotta defeat a certain amount of enemies to make it through the next. To actually beat the level. This door will open, and once this door opens, and I don't think I actually explained how I set this up. So when the player actually comes through, the first thing the player see is that door over there, and the player will be like, okay, there's a door there. I need to open that, and in the early levels when the player learn about the the objectives. I gotta kill this many enemies to open that door. Because like I said, this is actually one of the hard this is on the harder side of the level. The players will not be playing this level from the start. But once the player beats everything, make it through here, got all their collectibles. I forgot to say there is actually a secondary objective in this on this floor too. It is a little bit hard to get to, but it's there. Um, Once the player finish everything and actually make it here, they better take this portal out. But because we did not start at the hub, so the portal takes the player all the way back to the hub, which is inside the persistent level. But because we are not inside the persistent level, the player will not be teleported back to the hub. They will actually be the player won't be teleported back to the hub. We actually just gotta pause the game. But in regular gameplay, the player will be teleported back, and he'll be able to choose a new level, get a new weapon, visit his apartment, put money inside the ATM, or select a new weapon. And that is my level. Thank you.